He will have more. We'll have more on the story on Pulse 12:30, and again, Bob's second half in his report coming up on Pulse at 6. Now on to our subject this morning of learning in retirement. Let me ask you, are you retired and looking for intellectual stimulation? Are you retired and tired of being considered as old? Then the McGill Institute for Learning in Retirement may be for you. It promotes intellectual challenge and stimulation in group settings without the stress involved in studying for exams. And joining me here in studio are two participants from the Institute, one of whom is a very familiar face to Channel 12 viewers. First, I'll begin with Pippa Wrobel. She's been on the Institute's committee since its inception in 1989. And, of course, Neil McKenty. I think Neil would be most familiar with this side of the desk, but welcome back, Neil, to Montreal AM.
I'm very happy to be on this side this morning.
Okay, and of course you're one of the participants in the Institute and have taken, you're telling me, 4 programs now.
I think 4 programs over a period of a couple of years, very stimulating, and you meet a lot of interesting people, and I think it's just a great program.
Let me ask you at home, if you have some questions or comments, give us a call, 1-800-363-9995. We'd like to hear from people who are familiar with the program, but what you went through. And also, if you are in retirement years, let's discuss how your life has changed, what you're facing now, and perhaps a new direction in your life, new learning with the Institute at McGill. 1-800-363-9995. People, let's begin with the reason why you set this up. It was based on an American model, actually.
Yes, it was based on a Harvard model, and in the paper was a notice of a great big meeting open to all to come and listen to the head of continuing education, the dean, and somebody from Harvard who came up, and I think also the University of New Hampshire. So they were all there and telling us about the model at Harvard, and it was very interesting, and most people that were at that meeting, I think, stayed on and joined up, from what I gather.
So the idea came north, and it was a big success?
Big success.
And what kind of programs do you offer? I think it's over 2 dozen.
Oh, 30, 32. Yeah, there's creative writing, history programs, history of religion, music, oh, heavens, it goes on.
Current events.
Current events.
Political science.
Yeah.
Of interest to varied subjects all across the spectrum.
Well, anything and everything.
Now, when we think of learning, we think of education, we think of a teacher and a student role. This is a little different somewhat, and there are no exams, as I mentioned off the top.
No.
How is it different?
No exams. Also, it's peer learning. The moderator of each class is not paid. He's not a professor unless he happens to be a retired professor, but it doesn't matter. Somebody who maybe through his or her life had a hobby and was interested in something and feels qualified enough to just lead the class. They don't really even have to prepare anything themselves, because if they have a good class, somebody in the class will take over. Each week a presentation very often is done. You don't have to make a presentation, so people shouldn't be scared that they have to start writing great long papers again. But they do ask if you can and would you do a short presentation, which is part of the fun because it makes you look up, go to libraries and look up information in encyclopedias, etc.
Okay. I took a writing course in one's autobiography, and the interesting thing there was that each week people did some little segment of their life story. In my case, some of them were stories that happened right here in this studio, meeting interesting people, and then you read these and shared them, and it's just a very, as Pippa says, it's a relaxed atmosphere. There's no pressure.
Where does this take place?
On various buildings on the McGill campus. Well, as you know, McGill campus, this is fairly large now, but a lot of them are on University Street, Peel Street.
Okay, throughout the whole McGill University campus.
Yeah.
If you have any questions, of course, the number, as usual, is 1-800-363-9995. We'd like to hear from people who are facing retirement in the next few years. What are your concerns? Also, if you have some questions about the program specifically, give us a call, 1-800-363-9995. Now, I assume that throughout this, Neil, you've met a lot of interesting people.
Well, of course, where I really met interesting people was right in the seat that you're sitting in, and as I'm sure you're doing. What I've met at the McGill Institute for Learning in Retirement, you're really not very conscious there of whether the person next to you has a degree or not.
Yeah, it's a big concern. Some people may be intimidated by the idea.
You know, whether they have a degree or not is almost irrelevant. What they bring there and what is so exciting is they bring life experiences. People have been in the wars, they have been in peacetime situations, and they can share those through the medium of the course they're taking. And that's much more important than a degree.
Retirement is an age when specifically we think of almost getting out of the rat race. Some say that, almost shutting down. And right on your own folder here, there's a great quote from John Quincy Adams that says, "Knowledge prolongs life itself and enlarges the sphere of existence." And I think that, this says it all, because far too many people, when they go into retirement, to use my own words, shut down.
Right, right. This is very true, because partly going back on campus again somehow makes you feel young again, which is good, and the old stimuli of learning comes into play again, and it's nice to see the younger people, not all that much younger, of course, but younger, around, and the whole college atmosphere is with you again, and it's fun without the pressures of exams and things like that. It's fun. I
think the one thing that shouldn't shut down is your mind.
Yeah.
And, there may be other things that you may not be able to ski as fast or run as hard. But I think there's a chap told me the other day about learning a language at quite an advanced age, just to keep his mind alert. And I think this is I think one thing, too, Leslie, we should point out is, you don't have to be a certain age to join these study groups at McGill. You don't have to be 65. You don't have to even be 50. If there are younger people who want to come, and some younger people do, and they add a lot, then they're most welcome.
It's good to know. If incidentally, we'll give you a phone number a little later in the program, so have your pen and paper ready so that you can get some more information on the McGill Institute for Learning in Retirement. 1-800-363-9995 is the number to call if you have any questions. And for our first call, we go to the Nuns Island. Good morning. Hervé, you're on AM Live.
Oh.
Good morning, sir. You're on the air.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
I'm very interested, what I've just heard there about the courses at McGill. I would be interested in, if there is any, taking some courses in German.
I don't believe there is one right now. The only language course we have is French. But that is certainly a very good idea, and as we expand, as we are surely going to, we'd like to include that.
How do you determine what is on the curriculum? In other words, what courses you will offer? Is it a question of demand? For example, Hervé said that he'd like to see something in German. Can you follow that up? Do you see what kind of a demand there is? How does it work? Maybe someone who is from Germany can teach it or share with it?
Yes, there is a curriculum, council curriculum moderator, and she, all the curriculum or the subjects are presented to her. She decides, or when it's he, will decide what should be on, what shouldn't be on. So here's a good opportunity. If anybody speaks German and is willing to moderate a class, we're certainly open to it, and the number that you'll see on the screen is the best.
So to some extent, of course, it's the matter is if someone comes forward and offers to moderate, as you were just saying, then and if there's any demand, then of course that course will go up on the board.
Great. All right, the number to call is 1-800-363-9995 if you have any questions. We'll take a break, then we'll get back to your calls right after this.
A business is recognized by its trademark, but it's defined by its people. Speaking for Nichols, Peter Mamas.
Well, Lisa's wonderful. She's been with us from the very beginning. The customers get me in bad positions. They're always telling me to give her a raise.
People working toward one common goal, the best service possible. For Aventure Électronique, Veronica Fragman.
A joy to work with. Sylvain not only cares about the store and his employees, but also about the community he lives in.
Quality products, quality service, and quality people. For Collège Platon, Chris Cavathas.
Roberto is dedicated and very professional. His students are his achievement.
It's people like these that make this winning combination. Look for this symbol. With these companies, you're in good company.
Hi, I'm Lou Hennessian, and I'm happy to tell you the leather sale we've been waiting all year for is back at Lita Furniture. Choose from the wonderful selection of leather furniture and make no payment, pay no interest until January '94. Lita has so many great deals in store for you. Here's my favorite. This 3-piece living room set in Italian leather is just $22.95. No payment, no interest till January '94. Now I'll buy that. Lita Furniture, 9281 Saint Michel, north of the Metropolitan.
We know you have better things to do than worry about getting socks whiter than white and dishes cleaner than clean.
The number to call is 1-800-363-9995. We're talking about McGill's Institute for Learning in Retirement. And good morning, Juliet. You're on AM Live.
Yes, I'd like to comment on the McGill's program, Learning in Retirement.
Sure.
A year and a half ago, I lost my job due to bankruptcy, and I'm so happy that I found in the Gazette the advertisement there is such a program at McGill. And ever since, I'm going there, and I'm enjoying very, very much the programs.
What programs are you taking, Juliet?
I have taken world politics, current events in the French language. That gave me a chance to practice my French and express myself in the French language, and reading the French newspapers, which otherwise I wouldn't have done.
It's very nice.
And then I have taken courses about Australia. I have taken partly about China. Some very short time I have learned about China. I had learned about European history, and I'm going to start to take now in the new course 2 other programs.
Okay.
About the early settlers in America, or the American continent, and another one which will be about the history of science.
So you're a veteran of the Institute.
Well, a year and a half ago I started it, and I intend to be a veteran, yes.
That's very good.
I intend to continue on.
Thank you a lot for your call. I appreciate it. Now, one of the things you wanted to point out that was different in terms of the traditional professor and student relationship is here it's a little different.
It's a little different. Every class, because of the nature of the class, is different as regards some moderator will do a little bit more lecturing because people really want to know if this moderator knows his subject very well. Others will just strictly moderate and leave it up to the class. When it comes to something like creative writing, one needs a little bit of coaching and a little bit of help. So various books will be suggested to look into. And yes, talking about books, it is not necessary to go out and buy a whole lot of books like it is at university. You're encouraged to go to the libraries and do as much looking up as possible. So, but there's no pressure on that at all. I'd like to pick up on something that Juliet said about the Chinese course. And I think in the last 2 years there have been 2 trips to China with these classes, and people have gone and they did the trade route, and they came back very enthusiastic. So that's just a side benefit. That necessarily won't happen all the time, but it took place for 2 years.
So it goes beyond the educational aspect.
Right.
There's also a lot of social as well.
Right.
A lot of getting together and making new friends.
Right.
Okay, let's go back to our callers. Thank you, by the way, Juliet. Good morning, Irving. You're on AM Live.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I just wanted to share my experience. I had retired as a physician about 4 years ago, and along came this organization. And I found I just had a new life started. I'm used to lecturing to a class that sits there while you cover the subject as an expert, and this is quite different. The moderator, while he may have experience in the field, is not necessarily an expert in the field. The groups are small. They're anywhere from 10 to 20 people, not more than 20. Usually sit around in a circle, and the moderator outlines the course for the 9-week term. It's 2 hours a week during the day on the McGill campus. And each week, people are asked to pick up some of the subject that the moderator has outlined and to prepare a 15 or 20 minutes presentation, and the group then picks it up. I had essentially a scientific background, but I got interested in the Old Testament about 4 years ago. I wouldn't have dared to lecture a course on it because I'm not an expert, but I did it as a moderator and found I had all kinds of interesting people with far more knowledge on the subject than I had often, but I was able to organize a course that they could participate in and share their own experiences. We didn't have any axe to grind. It's not a religious thing. It was on the basis of history and ancient history and literature. I might say also that the small group participatory nature of it is essential. You don't sit back and you're not lectured to. Moderators don't have to be experts, and the best moderators, I think, are the ones who do the least talking, and the more they encourage the group. I must say, there may be a wrong impression when you're talking about the German. There are no how-to courses in this. Continuing education separately runs things like language courses. It's true, as Neil said, there's a creative writing program, but we don't give how to do this or how to do that or how to learn French or how to learn German or how to learn Italian. There is a course, as the lady mentioned, in French on current events. So there's no objection to having a course in French.
Obviously, sir.
But the subject is an academic subject. Also, while there are some social events, and there have been trips either organized through Costa Rica or to China, having trips is not a primary event. It's mainly an academic, daytime, 2 hours a week, very modest cost. You can enroll in 2 courses. I can say that the cost is $40
for the whole term. For the whole term, I understand. You sound like a very satisfied customer. Thank you for your call, sir. It's also
while there's no age limit. You're not asked your age or your academic background. They do expect, I think, seniors. It would be, I suppose, anybody from the 50s up. Young
the majority of the group would be the senior citizens, but it's open to everybody, as we said. And I understand as old as 85 we have someone there as well.
I think we have somebody 85, and it also, as I said, goes down below 65.
It sounds very much like a talk show atmosphere, and you must be very, very popular there, Neil.
Well, I suppose there is a talk show emphasis to it, or a spin on it. There were about 20 in the course that I took of autobiographical writing, and there was a question and answer situation, and each week people would read something that they had written in terms of a personal memoir of their life story.
Will this be knowledge that you will put it into print and we will see someday, sir?
Well, I have no idea whether many of these people are writing not because it's going to into print, but they're writing for their grandchildren. They want to leave a record, and they're very excited about the help they get and the enthusiasm and the motivation when they see other people doing the same thing. So I don't think people are worried so much about whether it's going to be in print, but that they do their own thing, that they do it with a group that is sharing the same problems, and that they do it in some cases for their grandchildren.
Were there any surprises from the courses that you took that you didn't expect, perhaps?
I think perhaps the richness of the life experiences that many people in the course had had. Interestingly enough, I suppose it would be only natural because of the age span, that many of the memoirs of the people that I was with involved memoirs of the Second World War, and very vivid, very personal, and very meaningful. And these were, you know, they were just simply wonderful to have shared.
Okay, good morning, Anita in Montreal. You're on AM Live.
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment about what senior citizens can do. My mother lives in Ottawa. She's a senior citizen herself, and she has started a program in Ottawa for aerobics and fitness exercises for senior citizens. It's one of the groups that she has is called the Good Companions. You don't necessarily have to be over 65, and they get together for an hour twice a week, and it's a very good program for these senior citizens. It gets them out of the house and meeting new people. And I was wondering if you could tell your other viewers if there was anything like that, either at McGill or other places where these senior citizens work. I work in a nursing home, and I'm very involved with senior citizens, and I've yet to hear of a place that does offer this type of service.
I know a lot of the senior groups in the area in Montreal that do offer these, but I don't think you do it at McGill specifically.
Not specifically.
It's exercise of the mind. How important is it, because the caller made a good point there, getting the senior citizen out of the house?
Well, I
if
think
not number one priority.
as you say, I think this is number one. Often when people retire, they feel at a loose end and don't know what to do, and something like this comes along, and here, instead of outputting in a job or volunteer work, or suddenly they find that, oh, they're absorbing, and they want to absorb more and more and go back to the university atmosphere, and they find themselves getting younger and younger. I think that psychologically that's one of the very important aspects of the whole thing.
For sure. Okay, let's go back to our callers. Good morning. Aldo in LaSalle. You're on Montreal AM Live.
Hello.
Hi, Aldo. You're on the air.
Yeah, good morning. I have a question for you as a retiree. Do you have a curriculum on music appreciation?
We certainly do.
Yes, you do, eh?
More than one. There's one on opera this year. There's one on music appreciation in general, and both of them are excellent.
I'm mainly interested in the jazz field. Is that covered in there?
No, we don't have. Continuing education has many programs on jazz.
I see.
And maybe we'll get one ourselves one day.
We're going to get President Clinton to give that as soon as he's free.
Yeah, very good.
With saxophone, yes.
Right. Another question:
Sure.
Is your library available to the general public?
The McGill Library?
Yes.
The McGill Library is available to the general public. It's also very available to MILR students at a discount rate, and we're encouraged to use it.
Fine. So then I could possibly join it by paying a fee of some sort.
Very, very small, yes.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks for your call, Aldo. When you say discount rate, what are you talking about in terms of, put a figure to it if you can.
I can't.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Because I use Westmount Library. I haven't had the occasion yet to use the McGill Library.
But McGill Library is open to us.
It's open to us.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Let's go back to our callers. Good morning, Lucille in Val-Belair. You're on AM Live.
Yes.
Good morning, Lucille.
Hello?
You're on the air, ma'am.
Yes. I would like to know if they're teaching some veterinarian medicine at the university.
No, partly because, as one caller said, this is not really so much of a teaching atmosphere, and that would obviously involve a university-type course. So, no, there is no course like that.
I'll run down quickly some of the subjects for you. Philosophy, psychology, geography, ecology, political science, current events, economics, science, mythology, religion, music, art, creative writing, history, archaeology, and literature. So we have quite a wide span of interests here for many, many groups, and then some subtitles as well. We have some phone numbers for you if you're interested at home for the McGill Center for Learning in Retirement. There they are on your screen, 398-8234 or 937-3221, 937-3221 or 398-8234. Thanks to both of you for coming in this morning, and best of luck in this career.
Thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
Nice to see you again, Neil.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye. We'll take a break. When we come back, we're going to